Welcome back to the channel Old Coins, very exciting deep dive, where we uncover one of the most fascinating stories in the world of numismatics. A story that combines history, rarity, minting mysteries, and a jaw-dropping price tag that seems almost unreal when compared to the humble face value of just 10 cents. Yet because of extraordinary circumstances surrounding errors, mint marks, and unique mistakes during the minting process, the 1986 D one-dime coin has achieved an astonishing worth of $23 million, making it one of the most talked-about pieces among collectors and enthusiasts around the globe. And in this journey we are about to explore together, we will go into exhaustive detail about why a simple 1986 D dime, which millions of Americans might have casually spent on a soda or dropped into a coin jar without a second thought, could instead be a life-changing treasure if struck with specific errors, anomalies, or characteristics that distinguish it from regular circulation. Coins, because in the fascinating realm of coin collecting, the tiniest imperfections often lead to astronomical values. And with that, let's immerse ourselves into a world where every minting detail matters, where every small deviation from the norm could spell the difference between pocket change and a multi-million-dollar fortune. And so the 1986 D dime we are focusing on belongs to the Roosevelt Dime series, a series first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who led America through the Great Depression and World War II, and whose image replaced the Mercury dime. And although the Roosevelt dime is among the most common coins produced in the U.S. mint's history, the 1986 D dime represents a rare chapter where the Denver Mint, tasked with creating millions of coins for circulation, inadvertently produced certain dimes with anomalies that collectors today cherish as treasures. Because rarity in coin collecting does not always arise from deliberate production, but from those unintended mistakes that slip through the rigorous quality controls of the minting process. And that is precisely what makes this dime so captivating. So let's begin by looking closely at the anatomy of this dime. On the obverse side, the profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt faces left. Inscriptions include Liberty and the national motto, "In God We Trust," along with the mint year 1986. And crucially, the small d mint mark, which identifies its production at the Denver Mint, while the reverse features a torch flanked by an olive branch on the left and an oak branch on the right, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength, surrounded by the inscriptions United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and one dime. And under normal conditions, this design carries little financial premium beyond its metal content. But when we turn our attention to errors, we discover why some of these 1986 D dimes transcend their mundane origins and become legendary. And to understand this leap, from 10 cents to $23 million, we must dive into the world of mint errors, which are classified into different categories, such as planchet errors, die errors, and striking errors. And within these categories exist subtypes like double dies, offsetter strikes, wrong planchet strikes, missing mint marks, repunched mint marks, broad strikes, and clipped planchets, all of which can contribute to a coin's uniqueness. But among the 1986 D dimes, certain extremely rare anomalies have been identified, such as coins struck without the D mint mark entirely, a phenomenon that mirrors the famous 1982 no mint mark Roosevelt dimes, which already command hefty sums on the market. But since the Denver Mint was the primary producer of 1986 dimes, finding one that lacks its defining D is virtually impossible and therefore priceless. And another major category lies in double die errors, where details like Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date 1986 appear double due to misalignment in the die engraving. And collectors go wild for these varieties because they represent clear human or mechanical mishaps in minting, producing dramatic visual effects that are instantly recognizable. And then we must consider off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned during striking and parts of the inscriptions or Roosevelt's profile are missing or cut off. And the more dramatic the off-center, the rarer and more valuable the coin. But when combined with a mint mark anomaly, such as a misplaced or missing D, the value escalates exponentially. And this is where speculation about the $23 million 1986 D dime emerges. because among collectors, there are whispered stories of an ultra-rare piece possessing a once-in-a-lifetime combination of minting errors, possibly a double error or even a triple error coin. And while some may view such astronomical values as exaggerated hype, it is important to note that coin auctions have repeatedly demonstrated that collectors with deep pockets will pay record-breaking sums for unique pieces that represent both historical intrigue and minting rarity. And so the possibility of a 1986 D dime reaching a valuation of $23 million is not entirely outlandish when we consider precedents, such as the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar, which sold for over $10 million, or the 1933 double eagle, which fetched over $18 million at auction, both of which owe their staggering prices to rarity, demand, and provenance. And the same formula applies here, because if a 1986 D dime were discovered with a one-of-a-kind error, authenticated by reputable grading companies such as PCGS or NGC, its value could soar into the tens of millions as collectors compete to own a piece that no one else in the world has. And so let us consider the potential types of errors that might exist on such a specimen, starting with wrong planchet strikes, where a dime is accidentally struck on a planchet intended for another denomination like a penny, nickel, or even a foreign coin, leading to unusual size, weight, or coloration differences. And such mistakes are exceedingly rare because mints enforce tight quality controls, but history shows us that they have happened. And when they do, the coins become instant treasures. And imagine a 1986 D dime struck on a copper penny planchet or a clad quarter planchet. Instantly, it would stand out in any collection. And next we consider die cap errors, where the coin sticks to the die and strikes subsequent coins, leaving ghost like impressions, leading to warped or indented features that create unique appearances. And since these are visually dramatic, they often command high collector interest. And if a 1986 D dime bore such characteristics with full details visible, its uniqueness would be unquestionable. And then we must not overlook transitional errors, which occur when a coin is struck with specifications of a previous or future year. And while 1986 was not a transitional year for dimes, accidental use of the wrong composition or die could lead to transitional-like anomalies, and the rarity of such occurrences again drives astronomical values. And of course, repunched mint marks where the D-mint mark appears doubled or shifted could exist, making collectors hunt for even the slightest imperfections under magnification. Because each of these factors plays into the story of how such an unassuming coin could ascend to mythical financial status. And while the general public might find it hard to believe that a 10-cent piece could be valued at $23 million, seasoned numismatists understand that coin collecting thrives on rarity, provenance, and error significance. And so, for those watching today, the lesson is clear. Always examine your pocket change. Check your coin jars, search through old rolls of dimes because treasures do exist. And while most 1986 D dimes will remain worth face value or slightly more depending on condition, there's always the possibility that one out there carries the magical combination of errors that transforms it into a multi-million-dollar artifact. And beyond the monetary value, what makes this journey remarkable is the history, the human error, the mechanical quirks, and the stories that coins carry with them through decades of circulation. Serving as time capsules of the year they were struck. And the 1986 D dime, in particular, encapsulates the spirit of possibility, the idea that within the ordinary lies the extraordinary, waiting to be discovered by a sharp-eyed individual who recognizes its significance. And so as we bring our exploration to a close, let us remember that coin collecting is not just about profits, but about preserving history, cherishing artistry, and appreciating the uniqueness of every piece. And while the legend of the $23 million 1986 D dime continues to inspire awe, it also ignites curiosity, encouraging more people to learn, search, and engage with numismatics. Because who knows, the next record-breaking coin could already be in your possession, waiting for the day when the world realizes its true worth. We dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins and numismatic treasures. And in this episode, we're going to explore the incredible story behind the 2015 D Dime USA coin, a small piece of American currency with a face value of just 10 cents, yet shrouded in stories, possibilities, and collectors' fascination because of unique minting mistakes, rare error patterns, and anomalies that have reportedly made certain examples of this coin worth astronomical amounts, even whispered to be valued as high as $13 million in certain collector circles due to their uniqueness, historical intrigue, and the circumstances surrounding their minting. So sit back as we unpack everything about why this coin can be so valuable, how errors occur at the US Mint, and why collectors are always on the lookout for these rare treasures in their change jars, coin rolls, and old collections. Because at first glance, the 2015 D Dime looks like any ordinary coin, minted in Denver with a standard Roosevelt design, showing the familiar profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse with the word liberty in the year 2015, and on the reverse the torch, olive branch, and oak branch symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength, and yet hidden among millions of ordinary strikes. Some coins escape into circulation or are preserved before anyone notices that something unusual happened during production, whether it be a double die error, off-center strike, wrong planchet error, missing clad layer, die clash, misaligned die, repunched mint mark, broad strike, or other minting mishap, each possibility creating a scenario where a common coin suddenly transforms into a numismatic treasure that collectors would pay incredible sums to obtain, because rarity, combined with demand, fuels high values. And the more dramatic and unique the error, the more desirable the coin becomes. And when you consider that the US Mint produces billions of dimes across its facilities, the odds of a spectacular error slipping through may seem small. But with sheer volume, it becomes almost inevitable that some dimes exhibit mistakes. And the 2015 D Dime is particularly interesting because reports and rumors within the coin collecting community mention examples with extraordinary errors, such as a double strike, where the coin was struck twice by the dies, creating a ghostly, overlapping image, or a wrong planchet error, where the dime design was mistakenly struck on a planchet, intended for another denomination like a penny or a foreign coin blank, creating a piece that is not only mis-minted but truly one of a kind. And some collectors speculate about transitional errors where leftover planchet from a previous composition might have been used by accident, leading to strange weight differences that astute collectors discover when weighing their coins. And while most mint errors are minor and might only add a few dollars to a coin's value, the most spectacular examples become headline-worthy, fetching hundreds of thousands or even millions at auction when two determined bidders decide they must have it. And that's where the story of a coin like the 2015 D Dime being valued an unbelievable $13 million comes into play. Because even if the number sounds fantastical, the numismatic market has shown us time and time again that passionate collectors are willing to pay any price for rarity, uniqueness, and the chance to own something no one else has. And this hype builds upon the long tradition of U.S. coin errors achieving legendary status, with past examples like the 1913 Liberty Nickel or the 1943 Copper Penny, both created by minting mistakes, yet both now among the most valuable coins in existence. So the idea that a modern dime could follow in their footsteps is not impossible, especially when it carries dramatic errors and is preserved in high-grade condition, because collectors also pay attention to details like strike sharpness, luster, toning, and whether the coin has been graded by major grading services like PCGS or NGC. And if a 2015 D Dime with an incredible mint error was discovered, authenticated, graded, and publicized, its value could skyrocket simply due to demand, media attention, and the coin's place in numismatic history, and beyond the technical errors. We also consider the role of the mint mark itself, because Denver Mint coins carry the D mint mark, and sometimes mistakes occur in the punching of mint marks or their placement on the die, leading to varieties such as repunched mint marks where the D appears doubled or shifted, or missing mint marks entirely, which collectors cherish. And when such mint mark anomalies are combined with other striking errors, the result is a truly spectacular coin that becomes a centerpiece of any collection. And that brings us to the broader concept of why such coins capture so much imagination. Because collecting is not just about owning metal discs, but about owning pieces of history, accidents frozen in time, tangible evidence of human error within an otherwise highly controlled minting process. And this is why people scour their pocket change and search through coin rolls. Because the dream of finding that one in a billion error coin that could change your life is always alive. And this dream is precisely what makes the 2015 D Dime so fascinating. Because while tens of millions of 2015 dimes exist, just a handful of error specimens could make the difference between an ordinary dime and a multi-million-dollar collectible. And within the collector's imagination lies the possibility of that $13 million valuation, which, though rare and extraordinary, reflects the passion and competition that high-stakes coin collecting can inspire, as collectors imagine bidding wars escalating at auctions, with wealthy investors seeing coins not only as collectibles, but as alternative assets, safe havens of value with rarity underpinning their worth. And history shows us countless times that once a rare coin achieves notoriety, its value is reinforced by every mention in the media, every discussion in coin forums, every article published, and every video like this one, all amplifying its mystique and demand. And when you think about it, a coin that cost the government just a fraction of a cent to mint and was intended to circulate for purchases as mundane as buying gum or paying part of a bus fare could instead be locked away in a protective case, admired under magnification, insured for millions, and passed down through generations as a family heirloom, carrying with it not only intrinsic value, but the story of its incredible journey from mint floor accident to world-famous treasure. And this makes you realize why it's always worth checking your change. Because mint errors do not discriminate. They can appear in circulation anywhere, in a coffee shop, in a grocery store, tucked into a tip jar, or sealed in a roll from the bank, waiting to be discovered by someone observant enough to notice the difference. And for every person who dismisses their coins as small change, there's a collector who carefully inspects them, weighs them, examines their edges, checks for missing clad layers, looks for off-metal strikes, or identifies subtle die doubling that can transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. And the beauty of it is that anyone can participate, because treasure hunts like these are democratic, available to anyone with eyes to see and patience to look. And this is why discussions about the 2015 D Dime worth $13 million captivate audiences, spark curiosity, and inspire people to learn more about coins, the minting process, and the numismatic market. Because beyond the potential riches, it's about connecting with history, appreciating craftsmanship, and marveling at the accidents that create legends. And as you listen to this story, imagine the thrill of being the one who finds such a coin, the excitement of taking it to an expert, the disbelief when its error is confirmed, the joy of knowing you hold a one-of-a-kind piece, and then the anticipation of its journey to auction where collectors worldwide bid fiercely for it. And whether or not you ever find a 2015 D Dime with a life-changing error, the pursuit itself makes the hobby engaging. Because every coin you examine teaches you something new, every anomaly deepens your knowledge, and every discovery fuels the passion. So, the next time you come across a dime dated 2015 with a Denver mint mark, give it a closer look, because although most are ordinary, there could be one with a mistake, an anomaly, a twist of fate that transforms it into a treasure of immense value. And while $13 million might sound unbelievable for a dime, remember that history has shown us coins can surpass even the wildest expectations when the right combination of rarity, demand, and story converge. And that is what makes the world of numismatics endlessly exciting, and why today's topic of the 2015 D1 Dime USA coin captures the imagination of so many collectors and enthusiasts, proving once again that in the world of coins, anything is possible, and treasures can be found in the most unexpected places, making the story of this small silver-colored coin one of dreams, possibilities, an incredible worth that transcends its humble face value.